Today's post is a talking post entitled Predicting the Unpredictable and subtitled A One-Eyed Man in the Kingdom of the Blind. And it's about predictive modeling. Kurt Vonnegut, in a book called Player Piano, is speaking to a fictional character named Paul. And he says this: "Almost nobody's competent, Paul. It's enough to make you cry to see how bad most people are at their jobs. If you can do a half-assed job of anything, you're a one-eyed man in the kingdom of the blind." Now, Kurt wasn't writing about analytics and predictive modeling, but this statement still applies. I consider myself a one-eyed man, and here's a little bit about the predictive modeling I've been involved in over the past 20 years. Most of these were featured in a recent post that I did using YouTube. I worked on the NASA Ares 1 crew launch vehicle, and in particular the reliability and launch availability for that spacecraft. I worked on several unmanned aerial vehicle or UAV programs, and here I'm highlighting the extended range multi-purpose UAV. I worked on space surveillance for the Space and Missile Defense Command, and several missile models for the Missile Defense Agency. And for the past several years, I've been building propensity models for the financial and insurance industry, or FSI. I've also built life event models for the FSI industry. But the truth of the matter is that every model I've ever built is wrong. Now, George Box, a famous statistician, said it better: all models are wrong, some are useful. So why do we build models if they're wrong? Why are they wrong, and why can't they be right? Well, there's really two underlying causes for this, or principles. First is that models, by definition, are abstract representations of reality. Whether it's a mathematical model or any other model, they're abstractions. Now, I have a friend who was in the rodeo circuit. He was a bull rider, but he was also a Wrangler's gene model. Now, when I look at my friend and look at his physical makeup, his physique, I'm saying this guy is certainly not a model for men, or at least all the other men I know. He's an abstraction of what Wrangler Jeans wants you to see so that you will buy their clothing. Statistical models are the same way. They're abstract representations of reality. The other thing about models is that we build them on simplifying assumptions. For example, a propensity to buy model. We use variables that represent demographics, behaviors, transactions, mobile, web, phone, if anyone uses the phone anymore. And there are other variables that we just cannot capture, and in some cases cannot measure. For example, we do not know if someone woke up in the morning on the wrong side of the bed. Or if they're having a bad day because their child is having difficulty in school. We can't collect that data unless they voluntarily give it to us. Classic example is weather. In many instances, we don't even know all the variables that are involved in a particular weather system. And so we build models that aren't completely right. I'll say that a little differently, but they're useful. So what do we need to know? Well, as modelers, we need to know George's rule. We can't build that perfect model, so we have to focus on building a useful one or a good one. In order to do that, we have to ensure that the model objective that we're building to is closely aligned with the customer's business case. And this can require a lot of communication and a lot of time, and may consume a good portion of your allocated project time. If we do not ask the right question when we present the model results to the customer, we're likely to be giving them the wrong answer. Now, what do model consumers need to know? Well, George's rule. We're not going to give them a perfect model, but we're going to give them one that's useful and can help them in their decision-making process. So in order for that to happen, they have to construct a business case that is clear and measurable. It has metrics by which we can measure the results. And the modeler may have to help the model consumer construct this clear and measurable business case. And then lastly, you have to understand the funnel effect, which I'll explain in just a moment. This is one of my favorite quotes. It's by General George S. Patton, Jr. It says, "A good plan violently executed now is better than a perfect plan next week." So when we develop the business case and the model objective, we just kind of need good enough. We could meet for weeks, months trying to get the perfect statement of that business case and the perfect matching objective for building the model. But we just need one that's good enough to support the decision-making process downstream. Funnel effect. We have a funnel, and we have many types of customers that are going into this funnel. Some of these customers will buy anything and without any prompting. Some of these customers will buy certain products, and they may buy them without any advertising, or it may require some advertising for them to buy it. We have some that might buy products, we have some that won't buy products, and we have some that just want to be left alone. You send them some marketing material, email or mail, and it's going in the trash. And these are facts, and a model will not change these facts one iota. A model is not going to make a customer who doesn't buy certain products buy the product. In fact, the customers probably don't know that there's a model in play in developing a marketing campaign. And if they did, they probably wouldn't care. What a model will help you do is identify or score the richest market of consumers which come out at the bottom of that funnel. And that subset of customers will always be much smaller than that total target audience. So what comes out the bottom of the funnel is your richest set of customers for that particular product or line of products that you can focus your marketing dollars on, rather than using them to market to people that aren't going to buy or that might have a minimal chance of buying. Well, what do useful models look like? Well, first of all, a useful model is going to give you better performance than having no model at all. Secondly, a useful model is going to give you a better target audience than random targeting. Now, what will a useful model not do? It won't help you solve your marketing problems, and it won't help you solve your product problems. The only way you can solve your marketing problems is with better marketing, and the only way you're going to solve your products is with better products. Now, there are other kinds of models that can help you improve your product, but it's not the kinds of models I'm talking about here. The other thing about models is we said they're not perfect. They're going to have flaws, and some of the flaws they're going to have are built-in statistical errors based on probability. There's two types, called type 1 and type 2. The other one is human errors. Modeler judgment, for example. Modeler may decide to put variables in the model that probably shouldn't be there, or take some out that maybe should have been. And then communication between the modeler and the customer. And in particular, getting that business case and model objective right up front. Some final thoughts. Some problems do not require models. I'm an avid modeler, and I can sit here and say that. Some models do not require, or problems do not require models. Analytics is bigger than just modeling. And in fact, modeling itself includes, at a minimum, descriptive modeling, predictive modeling, and prescriptive modeling. Analytics covers a lot of other things as well, like cluster analysis, and classification, and audience characterization. And these might be statistical analyses, but may not require models. Predictive analytics and predictive modeling are often used as synonyms, and that's okay, because when you talk about predictive analytics, you're normally going to 99% of the time need a predictive model to do that. And again, because our models aren't exact representations of reality, I might not get it right, but I'm still going to be a one-eyed man in the kingdom of the blind. And I'm going to help guide the customer to making better decisions. Final thought. If the client that I build the model for is not using the model to support their decision making, then I'm as blind as a bat. A movie I like is Field of Dreams. Kevin Costner. He's a corn farmer in the middle of Iowa. And one day he's out in the field and he hears a voice that says, "If you build it, they will come." And he decides that the voice wants him to wipe out half his corn crop and build a baseball field. And eventually, ghosts start to come and play baseball on the baseball field. And at the end, people start coming to watch the ghosts play baseball on a baseball field. That used to be a cornfield. Well, just because we build a model does not mean that the customer is going to use it, unlike the Field of Dreams. We have to sell the model to the customer. Sure, they bought the idea of having a model, but when that model is complete and we provide the solution to the customer, we have to sell that to them to ensure that they're convinced of its power in their decision-making process. Now keep in mind also that a model, or analytics in general, is not the only thing that should drive that decision. It's really a decision support tool, and they have other inputs that will help them make the decision.